Shalom. First of all, I'd like to start by giving all praises and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Archeum doing this work in sincerity and in truth. My name's Amarth Kwam. This video is going to be entitled Jacob's Trouble, British military to help with knife crime in the capital. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to quickly read this quick precept, Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, and that's our people. All right, you Israelites out there, man. All right, you 12 tribes, so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, all right, so-called West Indians, and so-called African Americans. All right, our people are in for a bad time, man. All right, and a day that none is like it. All right, a very difficult time for our people to bear. And in Great Britain right now, in the news, they're talking about having the military ready to help if in a knife crime crisis. All right, as this article says in Russia Today, Williamson declares military ready to help in knife crime crisis, prompting derision on social media. Just to read a quick paragraph. UK armed forces stand ready to respond to the current knife crime epidemic blighting the country, Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson has declared. All right, so it's not a small thing. All right, you got the Defense Secretary ready, saying that the military is ready to intervene with you so-called Negroes. All right, because Jake is heavily associated with knife crime in the UK. All right, and they're using social media to perpetuate that issue. Okay, in order to justify their agenda. All right, and their the way they want to operate with Jake. All right, and justify their institutional so-called racism, man. All right, because a lot of the Britain is a very racist place, and what you'll find is in the professional side of things, like at workplaces, those higher up officials, you know, they hate Jake. So when they can put a Jake behind bars, you know, they love nothing more, you know, and most of the arrests on Jake is usually petty crime, you know, but they give them the maximum penalties. So this, with the military interfering with these domestic affairs, you know, with knife crime and so forth, things are only looking headed to getting worse. Okay. So a few things to mention, you know, the military presence will start in the ghetto, you know, in the poorer areas of the UK, you know, namely London, and not high-profile suburban areas where these Edomites live. You know, you'll hear a lot of less sirens over their ways, but over our so-called poorer areas, you'll find the police presence is there. Why? Like I said, because that's where Jake is heavily concentrated in those areas. All right. So basically, it's a snare to our people, and the way they choose to deal with it is that they want to use the military, man. And what the military is used for, generally, is to kill, man. So that's the sentiment of how these Edomites in these you know, from these suburbs and so forth, that's how they feel that Jake should be dealt with the military. You know, eluding that they should be killed, man, or given maximum penalty for knife crime and petty crime for that matter. Another thing to mention is that, you know, policing is being more militarized, you know, because we're seeing a phase from usually having the police and then gun police, and now even the military saying, look, F it, so to speak. We just gonna go hard and dirty with you Negroes out there, man. You know, and flood your society, your outside your house with you know, some heavy equipment, man. Equipment used to kill, you know. Military that usually used to hunt men, you know. And really, a lot of these killings are just young people, you know. A lot of teenagers and people in their early 20s that basically fall subject to their emotions and do something stupid. Another point is austere policing in the UK. You know, it's being justified through social media. And here it is. There was the other day, the TV presenter, the weatherman, Alex Bursford. Basically, he interfered with a talk about how to deal with knife crime in the UK by you so-called Negroes, Hispanic, you know, not Negroes, Hispanics, but mainly Negroes, man, so-called West Indians and so forth, man. Jake, basically, how basically putting you in jail is gonna solve the problem. Anyway, 3 days later, it's been reported on social media and news outlets that his cousin was the most recent person to have died in a stabbing after he made that statement made a statement saying, look, that's not the way to deal with it, and he got emotional and passionate about it. But the point is, you know, social media, basically social media is being used to justify austere policing methods, such as bringing the military out on the streets, such as stop and search, and you know, the very austere manner of the police and the way that they deal with Jake with these and police their areas where they live. It's almost being justified just because the sentiment of the news is that Jake is bad, man. We need to deal with these people in the most strictest of ways, you know. And the public are being trained to turn a blind eye to the way things are going on. I mean, you just have to look at the statistics to be able to tell that you know, there's an abuse of authority upon Jake. Here's an article from The Independent saying black people 9 times as likely as whites to be stopped and searched by police in England and Wales. You see? So it's evident that our people are more targeted, and really it's by these racist authorities, and we get that sentiment even down to the military defense secretary, man. All right. Now, another article I wanted to get is, you know, a Tory MP, he was suggesting that police should stop and search ethnic minorities more, showing you that in the social media way of things and the way people are being taught through social media is that basically Negroes are problematic, you know, across board, that all Negroes should be stopped and searched, all right, that we're the problem. And some of the things he also said, let's have a look. It says a Tory MP has sparked outrage for suggesting people should stop and search and should stop and search ethnic minorities more because they commit more crime. All right, says the devil himself. Philip Davies said in a parliamentary debate that black people were more likely to be murderers. All right, when, what a hypocrite. Because, you know, you so-called white people, you go back to Cain, who was the first murderer, man. All right, and you descend from murder. All right, how you got to where you are in prominence was through murder and deception and crime. But anyway, and to use a knife or sharp instrument to kill, according to statistics. Well, according to reality, Esau is a damn liar. All right, because his blessing was the gift of the sword, man. And let's just get that real quick. Genesis 27. Scroll down. There it is. Salaki Akim. Yeah. So Genesis 27 and 39, and Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live. So Esau's got he's got a nerve, man, because his sword is the gun, and anything synonymous with destruction, which he has done to the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans since he's been in power, man. And now he's gonna claim that we are the ones that are making these guns. No, he's not gonna make that claim, but at the end of the day, the point is we ain't making these guns. Esau's the one that's in control of the market and flooding those poorer areas with those weapon technologies. But you'll never see them have that conversation about where these guns are coming from and who's in control of the market. All right. So from here, let's go to this article right here. In fact, let me get a quick precept. Because this devil's being exposed for the devil he is. Let's get Psalms 58. And the third verse says, the wicked are restrained from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And it's a damnable lie for Esau to make a hypocritical statement that Jake is more likely to use to commit crime like murders and to use a knife or a sharp instrument to kill, man. That's a damn lie. All right. But anyway, like I said, Jake's coming into a difficult time and a time of trouble, such as there wasn't before. And we can already see the sign of that coming through the conversations and statements of authorities and the continuing debate on how to deal with Jake, in which one of the conclusions that they come to is to use the military, which are trained killers, to police the youth of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. And that's a sentiment that not only is in the UK, but is also, perpetuated on social media in all around the world, man. All right, that Negroes are the biggest problem on earth. All right. So like I said, the public's being trained to turn a blind eye till it becomes everyone's problem, till they realize that it's not just Jake killing Jake, and we're seeing right now in the news that you got this disenchanted so-called white people, basically who've had enough, and they're set up and basically go out and murder great amounts of people. All right, there was one in New Zealand recently, and I think about 50 people were killed in a mosque or injured. So the point is, man, you're starting to see disenfranchised and discontent, so-called white people's discontent for how their countries are going, man, and things that are going on, and they're trying to take action into their own hands. So you're gonna see, these devil's horns. The more closer we come to this day, man, the day of the Lord's return. Right, and the only conclusion is gonna be, is gonna be recommended is the chip, the RFID chip, to implant everybody, so that the police can identify who's who on a more strategic scale, man. All right, which that's what they're gonna use to justify the crime rates and so forth, of how they can better police you so-called Negroes, But anyway, I wasn't trying to keep you too long. This has been a video based upon the time of Jacob's trouble, and we're seeing things continue, man. So keep watching the news, and Lord willing, we'll be out of here, man. We expect things to get worse. It's part of prophecy. So until the next video, I'm gonna say shalom.